If you're a Christian, there are probably two doctrines that you believe that are holding you back from moving forward in life. And the reason I know that is because they were holding me back. And I'm not here to talk you into anything or debate you, because that would make this way too long. But I just wanted to share my personal story and just share a few thoughts that I've had about it. The two doctrines that I'm talking about are that Jesus is God and the Torah is done away with. So let me start with a story of when I was 15. I distinctly remember one day when I was sitting on my bedroom floor, reading my Bible and praying. And I don't remember what the problem was that I was seeking direction for, but I do remember distinctly thinking, I wish somebody would just give me a set of rules. And ironically, I was holding a set of rules, the Bible. It was just that I was taught in the church that most of those rules didn't apply to me anymore. So I didn't open it up and look for specifics. But as our culture loses the definition of love and what that actually means, how to love others and how to love God, we're gonna need more specifics, like the specifics that are in the Old Testament that people say are done away with. I also grew up in a time when people were wearing WWJD bracelets. What would Jesus do? And that concept has kind of fallen out of favor now, because the first objection I get when I say I want to follow the Torah because Jesus followed the Torah, people say, but Jesus was God. So I would say, even though the doctrine of the Trinity has been held for centuries, I would encourage you to go back and read arguments from the early church fathers, and then also read actual words from the Bible and just sit with the words, because I don't think the Trinity is actually taught in the Bible. I can see where they get it from, but I feel like that doctrine was holding me back from actually following Jesus. I mean, 1 John 2:6 says that if we say that we abide in him, that we must walk as Jesus did. So most of the church would say, we can't do that. So I don't think it's very helpful to think of Jesus as God. Jesus is the same as the Father. And I'll give you just three conceptual questions to think about. So if God the Father and Jesus are the same person, why was Jesus praying to the Father while he was here on earth? And then what part of God died on the cross? Did a third of God die? And then how is now Jesus sitting at the right hand of the Father if they're the same? Because they would be next to each other. So none of that makes any sense to me if I were to hold the doctrine of the Trinity. So I really don't, after going back and reading the words in the Bible and sitting with what it actually said without laying over theological doctrines that I've been taught in the church, I could see that the Trinity doesn't make much sense, and it's not very helpful. So once I realized, and I know this is controversial in the church, that Jesus was a human like us, it makes much more sense that I would follow him. He said, follow me, walk as I walked, obey my commands, and he was just repeating the same commands that the Father stated. So, sorry, there was a big windstorm and my papers were blowing away. So how does this all relate to Psalm 119 in the het section? David starts it out by saying, Kilchi Yahweh amarti lishmor devarecha. My portion, Father, is to guard your word. He saw his job as the king to guard the Torah. There's a law in the Torah that says that the king is supposed to write out the Torah and carry it with him at all times, because that's how he was supposed to govern his kingdom. And then it says, Heliti faneka vekolev choneni heimatecha. So I seek your face with my whole heart. Favor me or grace me with your word, your promises, your Torah. So people say that they were under law and we're under grace. There's so much grace talked about in Psalm 119 and other places in the Bible. Noah found grace, favor in the eyes of the Father. And throughout Psalm 119, he's basically saying, grace me with your Torah. The Torah is grace for us because they are graceful instructions. And then it says, Hishavti darkai va ashiva reglai el edoteka. So I considered my ways and I turned back to your 10 commandments. Kashti velo hitmachmati lishmor mitzvoteka. So I hurry and I do not delay to keep your commands. Chavle rashayim evoduni trataka lo shakakti. So the ropes of the wicked have entangled me, but I don't forget your Torah. Chatzot leila akum neodot lak al mishpate sitkeka. So at midnight I rise and I remember your righteous right rulings. Ha'aver ani lekol asher iriuka ushomrei pikudeka. I'm friends with all of those who fear you and guard your commands. Nehasekha Yahweh Malaya ha'aretz hukeka lamedeni. Your loving kindness fills the earth. Thank you for not requiring anything other than faith from me. That's not what it says. It says your loving kindness fills the earth. Teach me your commands. So I personally find so much freedom in having instructions to know what to do next. David says, I run about in freedom, for you've set my heart free. You have enlarged my heart with your commands. I'm currently in the Resh section, which is towards the end, and I'm memorizing one of the saddest verses that I've read lately. It says, Rachok me rashaim Yeshua ki hukeka lo darashu. So far are the sinners from Yeshua, salvation, because they do not seek out your commands. So David sees sinners far from salvation who don't seek out his commands. And then Yeshua, Jesus, in the New Testament, in Matthew 6:33 says, seek first his kingdom. And what kingdom doesn't have laws? And his righteousness. Does he want us to be actually righteous or just righteous in name only? And then all these things will be added unto you. The Heavenly Father will take care of everything else. If you are seeking out his actual righteousness in his kingdom, that's part of how you identify the kingdom. The obedience to the king. So those are just a few things to think about. If you want me to clarify on any part of that, then just put that in the comments. I'd be happy to chat. And I will make future videos telling more of my journey. Shalom.